Hello, everybody. I'm back. I thought I would go over a topic: who really controls the world? Everybody has different ideas, Muting. Many people have different ideas of that. Some people do think they have an idea it's God. Some people have an idea it's humankind and something else. But at verse 1 John 5:19 uh it states we know that we originate with God, but the whole world is laying in the power of the wicked one. So who's the wicked one? It's Satan. That's why everything is so crazy. Everything is going nuts. Um and that's where the Son of God came to destroy the devil's works. Where in 1 John 3:8 it says, the one who practices sin originates with the devil, because the devil has been sinning from the beginning. For this purpose, the Son of God was made manifest, to break up the works of the devil. Yay! So basically that is what that's saying. Oh, and here, if you guys, if you guys are King James version, it says, he that cometh, sin is of the devil. For the devil sinneth from the beginning. For his purpose, the Son of God was manifest, that he might destroy the works of the devil. It's almost the same, it's just Old English. And the Bible we read New English. But it's still the same. I just wanted to point that out, that it says the same. Basically, and it says the reason to believe that our world will change for the better. And that's in 1 John 2:17, where it says, furthermore, the world is passing away, and so is its desires. And so is its desire. But the one who does the will of God remains forever. And let me see. And in the King James it says, and the world passeth away, and lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of God abideth forever. Abideth forever. That is definitely Old English. No wonder why people sometimes get a little confused on that. But that's what it means. So basically, the one that does the will of God will remain forever. Can we really believe what the Bible says? Of course we can. And there's 3 reasons why it's so. Satan's rulership is basically doomed. It is. It's coming to its end. It says right here, Jehovah is determined to bring Satan's control over mankind to an end. He promises to bring to nothing the devil and undo all the damages that Satan has caused. Hebrews 2:14, where it says, "Therefore, since the young children are sharers of blood and flesh, he also similarly shared in the same thing, so that through his death he might bring to nothing the one having the means to cause death, that is, the devil." And it says God has chosen Jesus Christ to rule the world. It says Jesus is the complete opposite of this world's present cruel, selfish ruler. Concerning Jesus' kingship, God promises he will have pity on the lowly and the poor. From oppression and from violence, he will rescue them. And that is at Psalm 72, 13, 14. He says he will have pity on the lowly and the poor, and the lives of the poor he will save. From oppression and from violence he will rescue them, and their blood will be precious in his eyes. And it says, he shall spare the poor and the needy, and shall save the souls of the needy. He shall redeem their souls from deceit and violence, and precious shall their blood be in his sight. That's the King James Version. Basically almost the same, but just it's more English, old English terms, and it's saying the same thing. It's just the more modern English is more easier for us to understand because a lot of us don't speak that way anymore. Not like they did like in the 16th century, 15th, 14th century. Everybody speaks quite different. Even though they spoke English, their spellings and everything, their meanings to things were very different, but meaning the same. It's crazy. The English language has changed over many, many, many centuries. Okay. And it says God cannot lie. The Bible plainly states it is impossible for God to lie. When Jehovah promises to do something, it is as God, as good as done. It is as good as done. The ruler of this world will be casted out. And it goes Hebrews 6:18, where it says, in order that through two unchangeable things, in which it is impossible for God to lie, we who have fled to the refuge may have a strong encouragement to take firm hold of the hope set before us. And the King James is that's by two immutable things in which it was impossible for God to lie. We might have a strong consolation who have fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before us. See, it's the same, but it's just a lot of it's in Old English, but meaning the same thing all the way. And in Isaiah 55:10 and 11, it goes, "For just as the rain and the snow pour down from heaven and do not return there until they saturate the earth, making it produce and sprout, giving seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So my word that goes out of my mouth will be. It will not return to me without results, but it will certainly accomplish what is my delight, and it will have sure success in what I send it to do." So, in the King James Version, "For as the rain cometh down, and the snow from heaven, and the returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth the bud, that may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the things whereto I send it." And this is the Old English. That's the King James Version. I think I like the new version better, but it's still it means the same thing. It means everything is the same. And then in John 12:31 it says, "Now no sorry. Now there is a judging of this world. Now the ruler of this world will be casted out." What is the King James Version? "Now is the judgment of this world. Now shall the prince of this world be casted out," which is really, it's Satan. It's basically the same. Because you guys have prince in the King James. Ours is like ruler, which the prince, is like the Prince of England. He's a ruler. So it's the same. It's just an New English. Old English from New English. What will the world be like after its ruler is removed? The Bible answers that question at Psalms 37:10, 11. It says, "Just a little while longer, and the wicked will be no more. You will look at where they were, and they will not be there. But the meek will possess the earth, and they will find exquisite delight in the abundance of peace." And let me see. King James Version, it goes, "For yet a little while, for yet a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Ye, thou shalt diligently consider his place, and it shall not be. But the meek shall inherit the earth, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. You see, it's old English, which a lot of these words, some of these words we use, but we don't really use anymore. This one is more easier to really grasp and understand and take it to heart more because this is the English we speak today. And the King James is more in like what people spoke like 1600s, 1500s, 17. They spoke with that posh, um, correct, very correct English. And we, on the other hand, we have a lot of slang words, a lot of different dialect of that English today. Even in England, they don't even speak like that too much anymore, not really. And then in Revelation 21:3-4, it says, with that I heard a loud voice from the throne say, look, the tent of God is with mankind, and he will reside with them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them. And he will wipe out every tear from their eyes, and death will be no more. Neither will mourning, nor outcry, nor pain be any more, for the former things have passed away. And this is in the future. It hasn't even happened yet, but it will. King King James Version, it says, and I heard a great voice out of the heavens saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. And God shall shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And see, that is more Old English, but it's basically the same. It's the same. It's just New English to Old English, but it means exactly the same. We just don't use a lot of those terms anymore that people used in the 16th century and maybe 15th century. So even the 17th or 18th century, we don't even use those words. I mean, we use those words, but not the older terms. We do not. Everything is with it, like with the at the end of certain words. Beeth, with it. It's like, and that's just like, that is definitely Old English. But it's still the same meaning, same things. And so when people try to tell us that, our Bible, doesn't, is different, it's really not. It's just New English. That's it. It means the same thing. Everything is the same thing. So I don't know where people come up with these things, but it is what it is. So basically, who's really ruling this world? It's really Satan, because it says right here, we know we originate with God, but the whole world is laying in the power of the wicked one, Satan. Satan is the influence of the world. People don't think so because God did create the earth. But if you remember in a certain, I forgot what verse it was, but I think there was a certain time where everybody, have has this idea that we all go to heaven, and it was always a peaceful, glorious place to be. In the scriptures, it shows something different. It shows there was disobedience against God even in the heavens. Even his angels turned against him, some of them, and they started following Satan or another angel. And people, like, I think I mentioned this before, classify Satan as somebody that has horns, things like that, a little pig or something like that. He's really just one of the angels like everybody else. He can image himself as an angel of light because he is an angel, like all the rest. But he just went against God. He wanted that power like God had. So he went against him. Yes, Jehovah probably could have destroyed him right there and then, but what kind of God would that make him? You know, but he is going to destroy him. And that is even proven through the scriptures. Um, and for us, why is all these crazy things happening around us today? More than any generation before us, people have lost values of family, values and respect and um, remorse. People don't even feel things anymore. Some people don't. Some people don't even have remorse. They don't know how to forgive people. All people are is killing each other left and right, going to war like crazy. It said it would be like that in the last days. I mean, people have been at war with each other for centuries, yes. But when it meant for the last days, it would be like a continuous cycle that kept on going and going and it doesn't stop. Through the centuries, at least some wars kind of ceased, settled down for a little bit, and then it started again. But now it's just like war after war after war. Sometimes there's 2 or 3 wars happening at once. And sometimes there's even like different kind of things happening with even our own countries. Yeah. And then the weather, it says earthquake after earthquake. That means at a continuous basis. I mean, there's been earthquakes for thousands of years, but it wasn't like continuous. It was like maybe 100 years later, or like 2, 3, 500 years later, there would be another one. But now it's like continuous. It doesn't stop. And the weather is changing. And and I noticed that too. Um, you see like the weather going like nuts in one part of even in the US you see the changes. In one part of the US it could be flooded. And another part of the US a hurricane or a tornado went through. Another one it could be snowstorms acting up like crazy. Um and then sometimes from that also you get there's famine. There's because some places can't people can't afford certain things because the prices go up and you have to go without. Some people don't have jobs and everything is money. Everything is money. Some people don't even give out of love anymore. Some people don't. You have to repay or something else like that. If you see someone in need and they're hungry and you know you have the means to help them, I don't understand why people don't help them. I see if they're a drug dealer on the street or something like that, what I would do, I would help them to get like some sort of help or something, but not like me, helping them, like giving them money, but I would like help them, like take them to like a center or some sort of something to help them get off the drug. It's not easy, especially when you're already addicted. But people have lost, and people's personalities and everything has changed also. You don't see people respect, oh my God, the respect of parents, children respecting their parents has been thrown out the window. I mean, a lot of times I see kids calling their parents the F word, the B word. I ain't gotta listen to you. I was wow. I thought my generation was awful. I think after my generation, it started even getting worse after my kids, and then now their kids, the generation is even worse. You hear about shootings. When I was a little girl, we didn't have to worry about people coming in like a crazy maniac shooting up schools and innocent children or even adults. We didn't even think about stuff like that. I never even you know, we be we had like some sort of like, practice drill here and there just in case there's a fire or something. But we never had like the lockouts, the lockdowns. We never had anything like that. It's just lately, and since what? When was the last I think the first school shooting, but then after that it started to become a commonplace after that. Was like what? I think it was the early 2000, really early 2000, I think. And then it just became prominent after that, right after another. And now it became a place where now we have to, even in the workplace, we have to have drills also, not just for fires, but just in case some crazy maniac comes in, um, wanting to shoot up the place, we have to find a way to protect ourselves. So we go through drills with that too, even in the workplace. I'm sure, like in the 80s or the 90s, barely they had to do that. Maybe they had to do um, a fire drill or something, but that's it. But now we have to find ways to protect ourselves from all this happening, and you're not even safe going to the store or the bank anymore. Because even at Walmart, there's been shootouts in certain areas. It's just crazy that the whole world is in chaos. It really is. No matter where you go, there's always something wrong. Even my cousin told me, like, I used to love England. I never even wanted to come to the back to the US. And he told me, you know what? It's not like it used to be. He says England has went down, and I'm not sure what he meant by that, but I'm sure he meant like there's a lot of changes that aren't for the better, that are getting a lot more harder there on certain things. So, and maybe a lot of their, because England was more family orientated, they always had something for families to do. Maybe they started closing them all down and said, oh well. Because I remember being a little girl, um, I think we were in Ramsgate, Kent Ramsgate, and almost year round they would have like a merry a bunch of like Ferris wheels, merry-go-rounds, um, all sorts of rides you could go on, tons of different rides. And then they had like this game, people played bingo. And it was right by the beach too. But the only thing is, like, when it hit like a certain time, the beach water came right up to the beach. That means at a certain time, the sea starts to crawl up into the sand. And that's when people have to get off the sand area because the ocean is coming in. But when it hits, I don't know why it does that, but when it hits like daytime, the water moves out where it's nice for people to be on the sand again, make their sand castles and all sorts of stuff. It was great. You know what I'm saying? It was wonderful. But I'm not sure if they still have that. I'm not even sure if it's there anymore. Who knows? Many things could have changed since I was little, and he said it did, so I don't know. But there's been a lot of and this war that's just starting again. Now it's just like more than one war in one shot. It's crazy. Country against country. It's, I don't know. But it's really sad that people look at each other that way. Isn't it amazing? The whole world started from one man and one woman. From that one man and one woman became many nations, tribes, tongues of all sorts of people that came from her and him. But because they sinned or they disobeyed God, they went against him. We all suffer the consequences of sin and death now. But that's why Jesus came, was sent by Jehovah to break up the works of the devil. So, and I know that it's really sad. I'm sure Jehovah sees, or I know many people just call him God. He does have a name. Some people call him Jehovah, uh, Yehovah, or Yahweh, or depending on what language you speak, like German spell it with a G, Jehovah. You know, it depends. Um, but he has a name, but no one uses it. Now people are confused. Who is God? Who is Jesus? Because especially when you wipe out his name and now it's just replaced, you know, I find this quite funny. I have many, I had growing up many King James Bibles, and the more newest Bible, it wiped his name out of it. It used to be, where was it? I forgot where it was. Psalms, I think it's 83:18. Let me see. Ta-da. Oldie oldie. Oh, what am I doing? Okay. Psalms 83 is 18. It is. It says, may people know that you, whose name is Jehovah, you alone are the most high over all the earth. In the older King James versions, it said exactly the same stuff. Jehovah's name was in it. But in the modern Bible, it took his name out. How do you keep taking God's name out of a Bible and just replacing it with God like you're... And if you go back, you see in some other verses, Jehovah's name was originally there also through some um very, very, very older Bible, even the Catholic something Bible that only priests were able to have or something like that. Um, Jehovah's name was through it, but never said it. Nobody ever said his name. Nobody ever said his name. They just called him God. Just giving him a title instead of saying, hey, I got a name, instead of using it. And it's really sad because now people are confused. Who's God? Who's Jesus? And now people come up with this Trinity stuff and it doesn't even fit scripture. I don't know. It's crazy. And now they turned the Holy Spirit into a person. Not even a person. It's God's active force, His power. He's able to cause things to happen if He chooses to. Yep. So I don't understand where people come up with this stuff. And then people also believe that when everyone dies, you go to heaven. Funny thing is, the Bible doesn't teach that. No Bible teaches that. They teach when you die, everything about you perishes. Your memories, your thoughts, everything about you dies too. But the hope is that we are in Jehovah's memory. He knows everything about us. And he doesn't forget. He doesn't forget, like, because he says, it's really, I don't know how to explain it, but because everybody talks about heaven and hell, which in a lot of scriptures, um, they use Sheol, Hades, and hell. But it doesn't mean a fiery fernery place. It's a common grave where we all have to go. All it is a burial place where we all are going to. It's no fernery. God is love. He's not hate, and it doesn't even teach that in the scriptures. I know it says something about Gehenna, something like that, but that's only a place that was in Jerusalem at the time where they would like burn their garbage. It's just total destruction. That's what that means. It doesn't mean anything else but that. And never does it say um, that when we die, we go to heaven. And it says when we die, everything about us perishes. We go back to the ground we came from. Where did we come from? Well, if Adam was made from the dirt of the ground, and Eve came from Adam, was created from his rib, she's made out of the products that he was made out of. We are also all his descendants from creation's beginning on through each generation. So we are all made out of the same material as Adam is. Dirt of the ground, the dust of the ground. We're made out of, like, Every time you see dust around your house, you know what that is? It's us. It's our skin particles falling off our skin. We are the dust that's around our house and our animals because Jehovah made the animals and human beings from the dust of the ground or the dirt of the ground. He carved a beautiful, handsome looking man, a beautiful woman after to keep him company from the dirt of the ground. And we are all made from that product. So when we die, we go back to the ground we came from. Yep, dust you are, dust you will back. You go back. Never does it say when you die you're gonna go to heaven or you're gonna go to hell. Hell is a common grave. Even it says in the King James Bible that Jesus went down to hell. Doesn't mean a fiery place. He died. I don't understand where people come up with this stuff. It's common sense. He died. And then he was resurrected, took on a spiritual form, and was brought to the heavens, where he waited with his father until it was time to take rulership over his father's kingdom. So, which basically they say around 1914, they say around that time is when Satan and Satan and his demons, but Satan and his followers, the ones that disobeyed God, were casted from out of the heavens to the vicinity of the earth. Like they were sent to the earth, where they can't even go back up into the heavens anymore. So every time you see like people talk about, oh no, I saw ghosts, I saw spirit, oh my god, it possessed this person. Yeah, they can possess people, but they can never take their bodies like fully over and take form into it. But they can possess them, yes. They can harm you, yes. But if you know who they really are, I think they get a little bit scared because they know who the true God is. But at the same time they become more angry because they want you to go the other way. And then also they see people imaged as human beings that used to be living. It's really Satan and the demons trying to take that's taken on, images of people who used to be living. It's not those people. It is really not those people. It is really just Satan and his demons or his other fallen angels with him that are just taking on those forms because they can image themselves as spirit people that used to be living, and they want people, especially the unbelievers, they want people to believe in things that aren't really true. Like many people talk about, oh, I saw the light. I saw the light. I don't ever remember seeing any sort of light. I remember when I was losing, my pulse kept on getting lower and lower and lower, and I felt like I was just going into a deep sleep. And that's exactly what death is. You're going into a deep sleep that you're not going to come out of. But eventually, my pulse went back up with medical help, and I was fine. I was too young to go yet. But just remember, there's so many things that people teach that doesn't even fit scripture. Because the Bible doesn't teach that. It teaches that at least you know that your loved one is not suffering like people say they are. Like they're in limbo or something like that. They're not in limbo. They're sleeping. They're they passed away. But when that time comes, when the resurrection hope happens, they could have that hope to be one of the ones that could be resurrected. Because it says through the scriptures somewhere, um, it said that all those in the memorial tombs will hear his voice and they will come out. And that's where, the dead will start to come back to life. But some will never come back to life and just stay dust to the ground like a lost memory, like they didn't even exist. And it says in the scriptures, those things like are things that just passed away through the old system, which hasn't happened yet. Won't even be in our minds anymore, because we know we're in God's kingdom, being ruled by Jesus and 144,000 as priests and kings in the heavens over the earth. And it says that rulership will not be passed on to any other people after that, because he says he's taking his kingdom back from mankind. Hasn't happened yet, but it will. And most of the prophecies are coming to be. I think there's only at least maybe two more, maybe not. We're very close, more closer than any generation before us. It could be in our generation, maybe when we're old. It could be in our kids' generation or our kids' kids' generation, but we are definitely at that point where we're in the feet. We are in the feet of that statue, because that statue stood for different kingdoms that would be ruling for different time scales. We are in that last generation, that last time frame where God is going to be taking his kingdom back from mankind, and we don't have to worry about war anymore. Where it's going to be fixed, it's going to be corrected, it's going to be taken care of. And it says we will not have to worry about the wicked one anymore, because they will be done away with. I can't wait. Maybe we'll see God's wonders again, just like I mentioned earlier, just like when they crossed the Red Sea, and it opened up for them to go through. And then when they all finally made it through, when the Egyptians started coming after them, the waters covered over them and they all died. So, but we have to think too, Jehovah did punish his people a few times because of their disobedience too. Like when they were in the wilderness for 40 years, because of their disobedience and murmuring against against those people that were um, put in place by Jehovah to help them get to where they're going. Um, Basically, the the ground opened and swallowed them all into Sheol, or they covered over them alive, and the ground swallowed them up, and they were put into Sheol. So for their murmuring and their hatefulness, and they had time to choose sides. You're gonna do the right thing and not have to be swallowed up by the ground, or do the wrong thing. And the ones that did the wrong thing, they paid the consequences for it. So I mean, so it shows through the scriptures many times, like examples how to be and how not to be, and the consequences behind, like if you do things that are against God, Jehovah, there are consequences to it eventually. That will become, and there's no success in it. No success at all. But when you worship Jehovah the way He wants you to worship Him, not the way that you think you should worship Him, because Jehovah has a way He wants you to worship Him. And if some people have this idea, no matter how you worship, it all goes to God. Is that true though? What does the Bible teach? It doesn't teach that either. It teaches that God has His ways, and that we are supposed to adapt to His ways, nobody else's. And for centuries, people have twisted the scriptures into what they want it to mean instead of what it really means, and putting things onto it that makes no sense, because it doesn't even say it in scripture. It's so, I don't know. It's crazy. I would never I don't understand. I mean, I knew maybe a few thousand years ago, after the last apostle passed away, a lot of um pagan traditions and stuff kind of started polluting into God's teachings. So when you pollute God's teachings, it is not correct anymore. It's like it's been how do you put it? It's part true and then part not true, because they're adding things um that has got nothing to do with God. That's got nothing to do with His worship. So I mean, the Bible, it can be complicated in certain areas, but if you really grasp the meaning of certain things, and you got to understand, the Bible was written in really Jewish, Arabic, and Greek language. So at that time, like crux, people turned it into the cross. But if you ask a Greek person what crux is, they say it's a post. That's exactly what it is. It's one post. Not like no cross. I don't know. And then there's these times when I don't know what it is, but I saw it on TV. Somebody's like having their arms roped against a cross, and half these guys around are beating themselves with some sort of whip. Like, I was like, wow, it's like those Baal worshippers. I'm serious. Baal worshippers did that. The people that worship the Baal, they sat there and they beat themselves, trying to think that, oh yeah, God's gonna is gonna listen to us, and indeed, that's crazy. But there's a lot of things that have crept into the churches from long ago that has polluted their teachings, has polluted the teachings of God. Because where do they turn into like this hellfire stuff? I never taught that. And if you go back to the days of the holy writings in the caves, even a lot of archaeologists um, saw that their hope was just for the future, a good hope that the Bible teaches. And these guys are talking about hell and heaven, and it's so weird. I mean, the heavens is a spiritual realm for spirit people. They have to take on a spiritual form. Fleshly people cannot inherit that unless they take on that spiritual form. It's which there's only gonna be 144,000. And it says it in the scriptures. And people ignore that fact. Is them are the people that are going to be ruling over God's kingdom. What is God's kingdom? It's his creation. It's his earth. And then there's fleshly people. Then there'll be a resurrection. If people go to heaven, where's this resurrection? It says, for they will hear his voice and they will come out of their memorial tombs. Hello? That makes no sense. You know what I'm saying? Basically, I'm sorry for those that believe that you're gonna have many women when you go to heaven and have all those glorious whatever you want, and sorry to inform you, it's not gonna be that way, but um it's only a place of spiritual people, spiritual realm that will be ruled by Jesus and 144,000 with him in the heavens over his father's kingdom. His kingdom is the earth, and it will not be handed to any other people after that. So, and then it says that, I mean, there would be, because it said it'd be a resurrection of the righteous and unrighteous. So it's like giving people time to get to know the true God and getting to learn about him, and getting to know how to worship him the way he wants us to worship him. Um, for 1,000 years. Then after 1,000 years, they have to release Satan one more time to see who is God's faithful people and who is going to fail and having to be destroyed with Satan, because that'll be the last time. And then that's when they will all be destroyed permanently. And Satan won't exist anymore. The demons won't exist anymore. And those who are going against God would not exist anymore. They would be permanently destroyed. So really you have to think about God is a loving God, but he's also, it can be a God of justice. Like the fruitage of the spirit, you know, one of it is justice. He's a God of justice. And he's going to correct things when that time comes. He's giving people time to turn themselves around and stop doing what you're doing. And correct it. Make it right. That's how loving he is. I'm sure he looks down on the earth. I'm sure he does. And he looks at everybody and he was like, wow. And I'm sure he's very angry. And it says, you know, people will see his anger when that time comes. I'm just wondering if he's gonna like yell out to everybody who he really is. And then all those people that worship you know, the wrong way or realize, oh my gosh, what have I done? You know, might be, you know. So all this time I was putting my faith into nonsense. But just remember, the truth is in the scriptures itself. It is. The Bible is the truth. And if you read in there about how people die, about the living, about death, about all that, it clears it up for you. How do you turn people believe that there's spirits roaming around? There are spirits, there's Satan and the demons. That's it. Everybody else is just peacefully, like in a deep sleep that they can't get out of, basically. And they're turning back to the dust of the ground. If you notice, if you see someone from 1,000, 2,000 years ago, some of their bodies are just ash. And you can see some of their bones are starting to slither away also. Or some of them just have like little pieces of skull left or something else because it all just evaporated it back into the ground. So that's what we are. He calls us dust particles, or we are just dust. Because we are. We're just dust. Every time in your house, you clean your house, you see all that dust, it's us. Our skin is shedding. And not just us. If we have pets, we have birds, we have cats or dogs. We're seeing their shedding also. Not just their hair, but also their skin. Because we're all made out of the same product. Dust of the ground. Like in the beginning, he created animals from the dust of the ground. He turned his beautiful art project into living things and brought those living things, helped them to be able to reproduce more artwork. We, on the other hand, as imperfect human beings, we can't do that. We can make a beautiful sculpture of a beautiful woman or a beautiful man, but that's all we can do. But God was able to blow the life into into Adam, and then do the same for Eve. And then after that, when the reproduction started and it kept on going, each generation, um, it's like artwork reproducing more artwork of God's creation. We are basically his artwork. And we're just making more artwork for him when we reproduce. And because we are imperfect and we are the most furthest generation to the least perfect state. I mean, a long time ago, people were able to live up to what? 900 years old because they were closer to perfection. We are the furthest generation defected from that perfect state. We are the most imperfect than any other generation before us. Maybe for the last 2,000 years, people, the main amount of years somebody would live is up to 75 to maybe in their 80s, if extremely strong. They can live over 80. They could go to 85, 89. But those are usually the strong, strong ones. But there are people that has lived up to over 90 and some like over 100, but those are the extremely strong ones, and those percentages are very low. There aren't that many that can make it over that. 90 is a very small percentage, and over 100 is very, very, very small. Out of all the earth, it's a very small percentage, but the majority would be between, I would say, 75, between the 80s is when most people pass away. If you die naturally of old age, or like if an illness takes you over because your body just can't fight like it used to, and it happens, you know. It's just our time that we have to, it's our turn. We just got to that age, and I just hope the new system comes before I grow that old. I don't want to be that old, but I have no choice in the matter. Honestly, I'm already 49 years old. So, uh, well, thank you for kind of hearing me out on this topic. It was very complicating in some areas. I'm sure you guys are probably thinking, "Oh my God, Vicky, where'd you learn all this?" You know where? From the scripture itself. It's just something totally different from what people are teaching. Um, but a lot of people teach that teaches something totally different. Just really look into your scriptures and really search for that truth and grasp that truth. Because I noticed a lot of people do. A lot of us, you know, you don't like to sit there forever and like read the Bible in and out. But I'm not gonna say that I'm an awesome reader when it comes to that. So I try to read like little things at a time. I have read the whole scriptures before, like through the whole Bible, right from the beginning to the end, and it took me like a year and something months. It took me over a year to read through the whole Bible. I was thinking about trying to do it one more time, maybe more than one time, just to see if, and every time I look back, I learned something new about it, you know? But really look into that, Um just really try to grasp what it's really saying to you. And if you have to, sometimes if you look up an old English term and you try to translate it in more modern English term, then maybe you can understand what it really is trying to tell you. Because sometimes old English, because we don't speak that way anymore. Even in England, they don't speak that way, not with the old English. They speak more modern than what they used to back in those days. Um, so there's a lot of words that aren't even used like they used to be. So it's nice just to look at that verse. What did this mean in Old English? And what does it mean in the English that we're saying today? And I guarantee it will tell you. Because I noticed when I was reading like between the modern version to the old version of the King James, um, it is a lot harder to grasp um the old English because we don't speak that way anymore to the modern English. When you have the modern English, you can really grasp it and pull it in. But it's like Shakespeare language. But I'm gonna go for now. I hope you guys got something out of this. Um, all I'm saying is just really look into what is really being taught to you. Really look through the scriptures deeply. And if you have to translate the old English into modern English, it will tell you if on the if you research it, and it will clear it up for you. Um Thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for listening and spending that little time with me. Well, I'm gonna go for tonight, and maybe I'll be back with a just a basic topic on something. Who knows, I'll come up with something. Have a good night, because right here it's 7:40 at night. So tomorrow I gotta go to work. Another day. Have a good night. Adios. Adios.